K98.5. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
The turnip. What do we really know about the turnip? Did you know it has a number of health benefits? It improves bone health, protects your heart, prevents cancer, allegedly, reduces inflammation, optimizes digestion, regulates metabolism, increases circulation, and boosts the immune system. A powerful little vegetable. Yet, I have never understood why some people think they can extract blood from a turnip. Oh, believe me, they've tried. And if you don't believe me, just ask. I'll be glad to share some stories from the perspective of the turnip. K98.5, it is the final hour for us together before I officially retire from radio. Now, it's not a retirement from working altogether. It is a retirement from radio. And I've been asked what is my next adventure, and I've joked for the most part with everybody that I'm going to be focusing on my iRacing sim racing career, which, by the way, I'm terrible at, but I have a ton of fun doing. But seriously, if you've followed my personal Bucky Doren Facebook page, it won't be a big surprise what I'll be doing. I'll be working in the dirt track racing industry full time. I will get paid to watch races. Not a bad gig for a dirt track racing fan. I first decided that I was going to try and make a living in radio, but I wasn't going to be on the music side of things. My goal was actually to move to the Carolinas and try to get noticed by a company called MRN, the Motor Racing Network, and get hired by them. I was never going to get married or have a kid, but love will have a tendency to change your goals. I ended up putting my dreams of working full-time in the racing industry on hold to get my one and only son on the path to achieving his career goals. He's well on his way now to his goals, so now it's time for me to rekindle my career goals. And this has been something I've been working on the past 5 years, and it's been a major focus of mine for the last 9 months. Truth be told, finding a new career path had been something that Lainey and I both had talked about and hoped for each other for the past 3 years, and I know she's looking down and smiling here this morning. And I'm sure shedding a tear as I close out this final chapter and opening a new one. Have you ever felt like you're a dinosaur and that you're watching a meteor approaching? Radio is a young man's game anymore, and it's time for me to let the new inhabitants claim their right to fame. Was it a hard decision? Well, I'm going to be honest. Yes and no. I've always wanted to work in the racing industry, but I've created so many relationships over the past 2 decades here in the Cedar Valley that it did make it a hard decision to leave. In the end, we always want our family to be happy. So I hope that you, in the end, will be happy for my decision. I can't thank you enough for allowing me into your lives. These past 24 years, it has meant the world to me. Now, I'm not going to lie. When Lainey retired a year ago, last February, it was hard for me to continue on and trudge forward and try to achieve the same goals that we had set out in order to try to entertain you. It became even harder to do after we lost her this past February. Seeing her chair and microphone every day has pulled hard on my heart. But please know that this is not the reason for my decision to leave. I've tried to teach my son that sometimes you have to make hard decisions in order to try to live your dreams. People may not understand at first, but if they truly love you, they will in the end. For those hurting for this decision, I'd like to share my favorite scripture. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Isaiah 40:31. It's time for me to soar with the eagles. As I've always said, cave quid dedicis quando etiqui. That's Latin. It was always on the Bucky and Brooks logo. I added it to my Bucky Doren logo, which basically means be careful what you say, when, and to whom. You never know who's listening, and you never know what they'll remember. Hopefully along the way, I've said something that you will remember me fondly by. Coming up in a little bit, I have final chapters, a series of different random thoughts. Mobile phones. I've got air a few grievances about that. Talk about the people in my neighborhood, and my final thoughts will be coming up all soon on this final hour with K98.5 and Bucky Doren.
K98.5. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
Yay! Happiness and fun for everyone. Someone's got to be unafraid
to lead the freak parade. Oh, somebody's got to be unafraid to lead the freak parade.
Somebody's got to be unafraid to lead the freak parade.
Hey,
somebody's got to be unafraid to lead the freak parade. To lead the freak, to lead the freak, to lead the freak parade.
This is K98.5 and the last show with Bucky Doren. It's been almost 30 years in the radio business, 24 right here in the Cedar Valley, and the parade is almost over, and I'm almost out of candy. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I have spent the last 2 months laboring over what I was about to say today during this, my final hour on the radio. For those of you that have been there from the very first day of The Hog back in January 1994, you've witnessed me transform from a 20-something-year-old punk who knew it all and was ready to take the world by storm to the much more understanding on how the world actually works mature adult than I am now. And you have played a huge part in developing the man that stands before you today, and the man that I know my father is proud to call his son. When I first got started in radio, my goal was to tell a few stories and try to let people escape from reality and all of their problems, even if only for a little while. And along the way, maybe we'd learn a little something about ourselves. I think I need to apologize for that misguided goal and mission, because one of the things that I've learned over the years is that people think they're being real with themselves. Some have, but I'm of the opinion that most haven't. Fake names, keyboard warriors, hiding behind fake accounts, flashy clothes and cars just to impress, swimming in a bottle to avoid what is real, and when did we stop keeping score at t-ball games? Come on! All of this to protect an ego that has become all too fragile in this day and age. How you deal with your own ego is what sets you apart from an egotist and a star people aspire to become. It might be a little narcissistic of me to hope that I fall in that inspirational category. Whether I have or I haven't, that's up to you to decide. But I promise you that it's always been my goal from day one. And I'll be the first to tell you that I have an ego. And anyone that puts themselves in a career that shines a spotlight on themselves and tells you they don't have an ego is either lying or they suck. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of sucky people in this business. Recently, I was reminded that some people don't feel what I've done for almost 30 years is a real job. That one person said, quote, "Some of us actually work hard for a living. We don't just talk on the radio." It's a tad harsh, I thought, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But the fact still remains that some of us do not earn a living by the sweat of our brow. But that doesn't mean we don't work hard. On a side note, I chose my career path, and I know who I am and what I am. I wondered if that person did also. After all, they chose their career path too. I've often felt that saying what you think is easy, but saying it with tact is the challenge. Sometimes we get lost in the social media world that generates instant gratification that we have forgotten the humanity side of life. All of us aspire to become more than who or what we are. Being happy with who you've become doesn't mean you've settled. It means you know who you are. And I'll be honest with you, I find that confidence sexy. Well, a great set of legs and smoky eyes are a close second and third, but thank you for allowing me to air a few grievances. And I'll close this segment with a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. "The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Decide to be the best and you will. As for me, I decided a long time ago to be someone my son is proud to call his father."
The part of Bucky Doren was played by Tommy Hawk. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
Hey, my name's Chuck. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, I just moved up here, and I've never been a country fan at all. But the guys that I work with listen to your station, and I started listening, and I love your show. And now to know that you're retiring from the air has really disappointed me because we're just getting to know each other.
Well, normally it's a lady that tells me they're disappointed in me, so thank you for that variety.
Well, you're welcome. Hey, you have a good semi-retirement, and enjoy your next adventure.
It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5. Remember this?
Well, okay, Norman Big J kidnapped my Smarties, so I'm trying to get even with him here. So
okay, you got a plan here?
What I've got here, I've got Norm lined up his voicemail here.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Deep Throat. I have held some stuff hostage until Bucky Doren's Smarties are returned. What do you think so far? Okay, what I've got is Norm's favorite pen that is taped to rubber cement and Big J's Piggy Packer Backer. Now I will use the rubber cement and paste the Piggy Packer Backer to a big rock and teach it to swim in the cedar unless the Smarties are returned. What do you think of that? What?
He's gonna think it's you.
Oh, he's gonna think it's me, Buck?
Yeah, he's gonna.
This is not Bucky Doren, by the way. This is Deep Throat.
K98.5. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren.
I've always thought that I was a strong individual. That was until I met a particular family from Tripoli. Their 2-year-old son was diagnosed with a very rare form of brain cancer. And despite the odds, they never gave up hope. Amazingly, they would always smile, and they learned to live in the moment and find the joy in it regardless of the cards they were dealt. Unfortunately, in the end, Grant lost his battle with cancer and now looks down upon us from above. Thank you, Scott and Beth, for teaching all of us to always smile, even when it's hard to do so. You, my friends, are strong. Love you long time. Hashtag it LYLT.
The part of Bucky Doren was played by Buffalo Bill Cody. K98.5. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5. Remember this?
All right, 1 is your score today.
Here we go, Virgin.
Okay.
Virgil.
Did I say Virgin? I'm sorry, Virgil. I didn't mean to put you out there in the air like that. Can I have a do-over?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Take 2. I don't have the button, sorry.
Here we go, Virgil.
Thank
Question
you.
number 1 for you big virgin. All right, which gives him the win.
Pam. You'll have to call in and try soon again, all right?
Way to go, Virgin.
Thank you.
It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
Taking a quick look at some of the private messages that you guys have been sending in this morning. This one is from Sandy. Just started listening. You're terrible. You need to get replaced. Well, aren't you going to be surprised tomorrow? Bill wants to know what drive-thru I'm going to be working at come tomorrow morning.
K98.5. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever said, I never will do this, or I'll never do that?
But the trouble with never is never works.
The fact of the matter is, I was never going to be in radio. I was never going to be behind a microphone. I was never going to tell my story to the masses. I was never going to forgive those bullies at Bridgeview Elementary or those haters in high school who hated until I wowed them on stage and then suddenly I'm somebody. I may have forgiven, but I definitely haven't forgotten. And I never know if that makes me a bad person or not.
Never works.
I never was going to eat green beans. Then I discovered green bean casserole. Now people wish I never would have discovered it. You know, I was never going to get married or settle
I'll
down.
never settle down, and I'll never put roots in this godforsaken town, and I'll never say I do or step foot in a church.
Especially never have a kid, but it was the best thing ever.
But the trouble with never is never works.
But despite all those I never moments, you can rest assured the following I never will forget. I'll never forget November 1, 1981. Thanks, Grandma Ethel, for my love of music. I'll never forget Grandpa Sid calling me a pansy. Haven't been called it since. Tough love works, people. I'll never forget November 7th, 1998. My whole reason for being. Changed my world. Love you, Mini-Me, who's not so mini anymore, actually. He's taller than me now. I never will forget May 19th, 2010. It was the beginning of a great year in racing for me. I do miss you, Tony, and those beef curtain conversations. I never will forget February 10th, 2018. Love you long time. I never will forget today, May 30, 2018, the end of an era. And finally, I hope I never fall from your good graces for leaving to pursue my dreams. I never will be able to repay you, my radio family, for all that you have given me over these 24 plus years in the Cedar Valley. Never give up on your dreams, no matter how long it takes you to get there. Although if you're 70 and trying to get a football deal, you might want to rethink that.
The part of Bucky Doren was played by Maddie Poppy. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
What's the deal about retiring? Are they letting you out of there actually?
Well, the boss told me that she will be grabbing my leg as I'm trying to leave, and I'm gonna have to drag her out to my car.
Well, you tell her that I'll help drag to keep you there.
K98.5. It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
You know, a little while ago I mentioned that I still remember how I was treated when I was in school. Picked on in elementary and high school. Most of the kids never gave me the time of day until I took to the stage. I am over it, but it's one of the main reasons that I have never attended any of my class reunions. I've always wanted to go, though. See, back when I started in radio, it was a very intimate experience for the listeners. People would take their radios with them everywhere. I mean, everywhere. In bed, their car, even tucked away in a cubbyhole at work. And I can't tell you the number of times that a woman would come up to me and told me that they showered with me every morning. I've always wanted to go to that class reunion and look up those smug mugs that I remembered from high school and ask them, do you know how many women I've showered with?
Love it.
The part of Bucky Doren was played by Chewbacca. Final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
Hi, it's Bucky and Brooks.
Hi,
hello.
My name is Donna, and I'm calling to see if you and your family would like a free trip to Star-Studded Branson. Now, if you are interested in the free Branson vacation, just hit 1 on your phone's keypad right now and hold. And we'll be right with you to sign you up.
You will hear a brief moment of silence while your call is being transferred.
I can't stand the silence. I have to hum a little bit.
Well, you normally have like a little music.
We've got music. Maybe we should pipe some music down the line to them.
A little music?
Yeah.
I think they just hung up on us.
Do you blame them? They probably thought they were interrupting a private moment.
It's the final hour with Bucky Doren on K98.5.
I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to send either a private message, comment on any of the posts, send me emails, text messages, and whatnot. I appreciate that. And it seems to be a very love-hate relationship with this decision that I'm leaving. They hate it because I'm going to be leaving their morning routine, but love the fact that I'm going to be pursuing one of my dreams. Before I go, I've got coming up next, I've got what I believe. But before that, I forgot. I got one more thing I got to get off my chest. An airing of grievance that I forgot to mention. I love my mobile phone. And I love the fact that I can be connected anywhere I go. But I hate the fact that some people can't put their flippin' phone down long enough to drive and see the world in front of them. Especially when it's me in front of them. I'd really love to meet you, but not because of a fender bender. So put down those flippin' phones and drive.
Well, I was late for work. Got behind some jerk talking on a car phone at the light. When the light turned green, he's still talking on that thing. I was getting mad enough to fight. Well, the light turned red again, and I got sore as sin, and I pulled up beside him in the other lane. I waved a gesture in the air, and I began to swear, and I left him sitting there with this refrain. Get off that flippin' phone and drive. I don't have time to sit here while you shuck and jive. I got better things to do than I sit here behind you. Get off that flippin' phone and drive. I got better things to do than I sit here behind you. Get off that flippin' phone and drive.
Ask you the question. I really wish I could tell my neighbor to
go to church.
Well, that's good. Thank you, sir. I really wish I could tell my neighbors to
say hi. I don't know.
You don't know your neighbors?
No, I don't know my neighbors.
Okay, thank you.
Could you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
I really wish I could tell my neighbor to
take care of his own leaves from his own tree?
Keep their dog penned up. Wish I could tell my neighbor to mow his lawn. Yeah, get the heck out of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
I really like my neighbors.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, thanks. What was that?
Keep the loud stereo down.
Clean up his yard.
My neighbors are fine. They probably complain about us.
Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Shoot your dog.
Won't you please?
Get a life?
Won't you please? Please won't you be
I don't even talk to my neighbors.
my neighbor?
That was the coon dog back in the day of the hog, and a big part of the neighbors that I have met. I have met a lot of friends in this radio neighborhood that I've called home for the past 24 years, and there are a ton of people I'd like to thank, but unfortunately, I only have so much time before my final hour in radio, comes to an end. From my days in the hog, I want to thank Mama Hog for not listening to that McShay guy who told me that my candy-ass horse, I can't say that word, won't work in this town. Listen to me and I'll make you a star. Thank you for believing in a snot-nosed kid instead of that other guy and that punk who had a vision of something that was different from the norm. I want to thank Justin Pierce, my outlaw brother, for making a rock star lifestyle for both of us for 9 months. It'll never be the same in radio than those days. From back in the early days, thank you to Mary the Beacon of the Northeast and Rockin' Rhonda for being there right from the beginning of the hog. Lifelong friends because of it. You may not have heard Jay Grassley directly on the air, but he helped create the man from Waverly and one of my favorite characters that we created, Fred the Short Order Cook. Thank you, Jay, for helping out. I want to thank the gang at Mr. G's for the great softball rivalry. That was some of the best Rocky Mountain oysters, hog style, that I've ever tasted. Those were some great times, man. I wanted to bring back Mo Newer for one more chat, but time didn't allow for it. I hope you and Mona are enjoying life. To the whip, thank you, Tracy, for letting Lainey and I have some fun and getting away with more than we probably should have during your reign as the human resource gal. To Nikki St. John, Beth Parks, and especially the memory of Lainey Brooks, thank you for helping me be me. You are a huge part of my success. I want to thank the damn Yankee. Despite the love for the Yankees, I still think you're all right and a good friend. As I look back on my years on K98.5 here in the Blacks building, I'd like to tell Tom Bartlett from Oelwein, Iowa, that I hope Grandpa will always tell you about the good old days. To Pat, the bus driver, or the former bus driver, thank you and Mike for all that you have given Chase and I over the years. To Mama J, Janice, I can't thank you enough for being my Cedar Valley mother. Chase and I will be forever grateful. To Lynette, I hope the toll booth is always open and I will always have a dime in my pocket just in case. And I could go on, but unfortunately, the parade is coming to an end. I've always been of the mindset that you never will be able to thank everyone that needs to be thanked for how you have been able to climb to the top. So I simply will say thank you and love you long time. Hashtag it, LYLT. To everyone listening right now, I believe that you are 100% the reason for my success. But that's what I believe. I believe in all sorts of things. For example, pitchers, batting versus the DH rule in baseball. I'm good with either. I just think Major League Baseball needs to decide which they believe. I believe bad things happen to good people because bad people are jealous of good people. But sometimes you need someone willing to do bad in order to protect the good. I believe that trusting in God is only the first step. You still have to pay attention to the signs, and then you have to do the work once He presents the opportunity. He's not going to do it for you. I believe NASCAR gets a bad rep, but I still enjoy watching it. Those that hate it, get over it and quit hating. It's just racing. But I do believe that dirt track racing is still the best form of racing. I believe that you can learn from those dark moments in life. I've used that negative energy from bullies and overpowering bosses and overbearing people who said I would never be a success as motivation. I think I've showed them a thing or two about success. But I believe I'm no different than anyone else. I'm not the only one who has dealt with dark days, pain, failure, and loneliness. I learned to adapt and survive, and I'm stronger for it, so don't cry for me.
Before I pack my things and leave there's something need y'all to understand. I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime, that's why I walk the line. I'm just a simple man, and I done the things for cheap thrills, but all my scars heal, so don't you ever cry for me. Cause I ain't saying where I'm from, you're always welcome to take a ride through the country.
The man I am today is because of those experiences. I'm proud of who I am, and I hope and pray you find the strength to do the same. I think it was Maya Angelou that wrote, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Hopefully this last hour, you understand how you have made me feel.
Before I pack my things and leave, there's something need y'all to understand. I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime, that's why I walk the line. I'm just a simple man, and I done the things for cheap thrills, but all my scars heal, so don't you ever cry for me. Cause I ain't saying where I'm from, you're always welcome to take a ride through the country.
But alas, it's time for me to go. I'm out of candy, and I'm definitely at the end of this parade. I'm not going to say goodbye, though. I don't believe in goodbye. It implies that something is over. Something I've said or did over the years will suddenly flash on that theater in your mind. Like maybe the next time you see a pair of flip-flops, you remember my rants that they are not shoes. Beth, they are not shoes. Each of us will have something that triggers a moment like that we've shared together. Like maybe even a morning shower. And when it does happen, that moment, I bet we will smile. That moment will keep our friendship alive. So no goodbyes. Instead, I say shalom until we meet again. Cave quid dedicis, quando et te qui, which basically means be careful what you say, when, and to whom. Love you long time. Hashtag it. LYLT.
The part of Bucky Doren was played by Jeff Werderman.
Before I pack my things and leave, there's something need y'all to understand. I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime, that's why I walk the line. I'm just a simple man, and I done the things for cheap thrills, but all my scars heal, so don't you ever cry for me. Cause I ain't saying where I'm from, you're always welcome to take a ride through the country.
Hey, did somebody remember to get his keys?